Okay, very good. Let me put this up here. This is the handout. This is the link to the handout. If you want to jump on there. There also is, I'll just give you a heads up before we get started. There are code snippets that I am going to be using. They're fairly small example snippets that I made just for this course, and those are listed. There's 3 of them here under Get, Post, and Request, and then there's another one down here for URL and code. If you want to follow along with me as we go, then this would be a good time. Go ahead and pull those up, and then also go ahead and get your FTP client and your text editor ready to go. None of this is going to be hugely involved, but for those of you who are hands-on learners, then I did not, Ramona, put the link in the. It's on the screen. It is not in the here. I'll put it in the answers here. Hang on. Send to all. Yeah, on the screen. So anyway, for those of you who are hands-on learners, even if you don't do every single thing that I do, just playing around with it helps plant it in your brain a little bit better. So go ahead and get prepared for that. I am not going to go through the 80-20 programming in great detail, other than to say these are, kind of the, this is what 80-20 programming is about. That for us, those of us who don't aspire to become professional programmers, we're just trying to, excuse my language, get shit done. 20% of the effort and therefore 20% of PHP and API will give us 80% of the results. And as a result of that, we recognize we're only using 20%, which means that this is not going to be perfect if someone who does it for a living looks at it. It also might mean that there are some things missing just to make it easier for you to read and learn. And I will try to tell you about those things as we go along so that, caution if you're going to put this into a production site, particularly if you work for clients. Then you may want to think about adding some things to it to make it a little more full-featured. But I'm trying to keep things simple so that it's easier to learn at this point. It's really about learning. Okay, so that's my 80-20 programming quick overview and disclaimer. Again, this, this week, we did this on Saturday, and one of the options that I gave you was to go ahead and ask your questions in the question box like you normally would, type them in, which is great because it allows me to get to them kind of as ad hoc as time permits or where they fit with whatever it is I'm talking about. I can kind of pick and choose where to answer them. So if it's something quick and easy for you to type in there, I would encourage you to do that. However, I also would like to give you the option to speak up. If you want for me to unmute you so that you can ask a question verbally, just raise your hand. You've got a little symbol there somewhere to be able to do that. And when I see it, I will unmute you and let you ask that way. So today's topic is get, post, request, redirecting, and URL encodes. And this is, for us, this is such a fundamental topic. It was really interesting actually preparing for today's session. There's really, when you're working with, I guess, any language, but I think particularly PHP, because PHP is used so much as one of the standards for creating web applications. As opposed to we were polling everybody in the last session about what languages you'd used in the past. COBOL, BASIC, right? Those were not web languages. And so PHP, you really have people who use PHP kind of fall into 2 categories. The one is what we call core PHP, and those are people who are writing applications, not necessarily web-based, in the same way that we used to write with Fortran and BASIC and COBOL and VBA and so forth. And then we have the people who are doing web development and web applications with PHP. and it's the same language, obviously, but the things that we use most frequently, I think, are slightly different in the way that we use it. We're primarily using it in a web-based context, and so as a result, these three things that I'm showing you today, um, the ability to move data from one place to another, using get, post, request, and redirects, is something that you will do almost every time you write a script, actually. And what was so interesting to me as I was preparing for today was that these were things that I figured out how to do, and I was doing when I was first learning how to do all this, which is, as most of you know, was not that long ago, right? And I was doing it, and I kind of figured it out without really understanding what I was doing. I eventually did, understand better, but so it's just kind of interesting because I never had it explained to me, I guess is what I'm trying to say to you. So I never had really words to put around what was really happening. I just kind of knew how to do it because I figured it out. And so in trying to explain it to you all now, I had to put words to that, and I was like, oh, wow, this is hard. But anyway, so I'm gonna do my best. So get, post, and request. This is, as the title says, all about getting data from one place to another. And what I mean by that is this. This is how it works. Remember that in our session on Saturday, I told you that PHP is a processes served by the server, not client, right? It's a server-side language. So PHP processes on the server and then returns to the client. And when I say client, right, that's an old term, client server. The client it's generally a browser for our purposes, right? So it returns to the browser the results of PHP in the form of HTML. So you've got these two layers. You've got the browser that sits on the user's machine, and then you've got the server. And to be able to process things, you've got to send it up to the server, back down to the browser, up to the server, back down to the browser. And so this get, post, and request is really the mechanism by which we do that. So I drew you a little diagram. And so starting on the left-hand side, so the client, meaning the browser, they have information, but it can't, at least in PHP, it can't process that information. Again, as I said on Saturday, there are other languages like JavaScript, which are client side and do process at the client. We're not talking about that. We're talking about PHP. So for purposes of PHP, your browser is dumb. All it can do is display what's given to it. Okay, so we have, for example, a form that someone fills out on your website, either an Infusionsoft form or just one that you've built in plain HTML. And when someone hits submit, then we've got to do something with that information. And specifically, the server has to do something with that information because the browser cannot. So what we're going to do is we're going to send it up to the server. And the way that we do that is generally one of two ways. Either we send it as a post, and I should have brought up a form, but when you see, let me see if I can just find an example like super quick here. Perfect. Make this big. So when you write a form in HTML, one of the things that you will see right here, the first thing in the form tag right here is this method equals post. Okay, so what that says is when we hit submit, we're going to send all the information in this form to the server as a post. So that's one way, post. Now, and then the other way, which is more obvious probably, is a query string. Okay, so a query string is actually, the reason it's more obvious is it's actually visible because it gets passed in the URL, the referring URL. You can actually see it up here in your browser address bar, and we're gonna look at those here in a second. Those are the two primary ways that we get this data going back and forth. If it's a post, it's hidden. You can't see it. There's nothing up here in your URL, or even in the code, or even in the view source, that shows you what is in the post variable. If, however, you use a query string, that's called get. And with get, it is there. It's visible for anyone to see. Okay? So what happens is someone fills out, we'll just use a form as an example. Someone fills out a form. We either send it via post or query string up to the server. The server to a script on the server. That script could either do something based on whatever you put in it, right? It can process it, it can write it to a database, it can integrate with another application, it can do whatever you want it to do, and then when it's done, it's going to pass the result back down here to the browser, okay? And when it passes it back down, again, same thing's going to happen. It's either going to pass those those variables back as post or a query string get. Okay, and then let's say now you want to do something else. I'll show you another example later where it does this. So then we send it back up, and then we send it back down. Post or get, post or get. Okay, so those are it, really, a post or a query string. So let's talk about what those look like and how we use them and how we access them and so forth. Because now that's the kind of the big picture. Let's kind of get into the nitty gritty. By the way, if you guys have any questions as I'm going along, you need to stop me, or you need clarification on anything, please by all means let me know. So key characteristics of get and post. So first of all, post is more secure than get, if for no other reason than that you can see get. You can see a query string, right? But it's more than just that it's visible. When you use a query string, that page can be cached, as many of you are probably aware, with the query string intact. So someone goes back to it and hits submit, it's going to submit again. It can be bookmarked with a query string. It remains in browser history. If this is the old problem you may have encountered with shopping carts, where they say don't hit the back button. If you do, your card will be charged twice. That's a query string. It's there, it's visible. If you hit the back button, it's going to submit it again. Okay. So get is post, because it is more behind the scenes, is considered slightly more secure than get. Both get and post send and receive information in name value pairs. And when I show you this, you're going to go, oh, well, of course it does. But so it looks like this, right? I'm sure most of you have seen query strings. You may have even built them. Maybe you knew you were working with name value pairs. Maybe you didn't. Okay, I can make this a lot, bigger, because I have a very big screen. So let's do that. There. Perfect. Okay, so here's a query string. Okay, this would go in your browser. You guys all know, here's the URL, right? We're going to send this information to a script that is on my website called something.php. That's your script. Using a query string, right? Everything to the right of the question mark is the query string. This is the query string right here. Okay? The left side of the equal sign is the name, and the right side is the value. So, and we can have multiple name value pairs in a query string. In fact, I think a query string can hold 2048 characters, if I'm not mistaken. So, which is a limit, by the way, where post doesn't have a limit. That's another difference between the two. And then we concatenate the next name value pair with the ampersand. Okay, so here's a name value pair, ID equals 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's a name value pair, name equals Kim. Here's a name value pair, favorite sport, fav_sport equals polo. So when I pass this to the script is going to be able to read these by using get and then do things with them. Okay, so that's a query string. And by the way, well, I'm going to jump ahead, so I'm not going to do that. Okay, so it's easy. We can see a query string. A post you can't see, but there are also name value pairs. The one place where it's obvious, and they just showed this for a split second in the webinar for the ICCs here, is that now in the Infusionsoft Campaign Builder, when you drag out an HTTP post snippet, you can now specify your own name value pairs, which you didn't used to be able to do. And this is really, really, really powerful. So what you're doing here is, this is in essence, this is just like the query string that we constructed. Except it's kind of a GUI version. We're sending it to this script, yourdomain.com something.php. That's the URL. And then we're giving it name value pairs. These are the names, ID, name, and fave sport. These are the values that we want associated with these names. Now, typically, the way that you would do it, and I will just do it here real quickly. Let me find a over here a snippet. If I go here and I go into an HTTP post, okay, this is the one that you have on your screen. So most often what we think of doing is we think of using merge fields here. So here, if I add another field here, so first of all, well, let me just show you something. Hang on, let me go back. If I add a new, fresh HTTP post snippet, easy for me to say, HTTP post, the default, okay, is this is blank because we're going to fill this in. It defaults with a name of contact ID and the contact ID, because you've always got to send that, basically, right? Because that's what Infusionsoft works off of. So it needs that. The fact that it puts it in here, and a lot of times that's all you need, and you don't even touch it, right? That's it. You just put the URL in here and let it rip. However, first of all, this doesn't have to be contact ID. You can name it whatever you want. As long as you know what it is so that your script can refer to it by name, you can name it whatever you want, right? So Boogeyman or whatever, CID or whatever you want. A lot of times it's better not to change the Infusionsoft defaults because it's just easier. You don't get confused. It's like app and my app. You make it match their documentation, and that way when you copy and paste, you won't get confused. Anyway, and then what we do here is we have a merge field. But if you go back to this one, you'll notice a couple things. So I can add more. I can add as many as I want. In fact, I can put in here merge fields, and in my merge fields, I have all the same merge fields available to pass as post variables as I have, to put in an email, for example, right? So I have date fields and custom fields and all sorts of things. So I don't have much in the way here of custom fields because this is a sandbox account, but whatever. Let's say we wanted to, that's not a good one. Anyway, you get the idea, right? Company. Let's say we wanted to do company. Okay. And then I can call these whatever I want. I can call this year and I can call this company. But notice the other thing I did right here. Right here, so these are merge fields. That makes sense to everybody. We're going to pass this to our script so that our script can do things with it. And I'm going to show you that in a minute. Right? But the other thing that we can do is we can put a constant in here. We can put a string. We can put a date. We can put whatever we want in here. And a lot of people, we always forget about this as a possibility, but the value in doing this is, for example, so you can use these as kind of like fixed parameters. So for example, like the campaign and the scripts that handle all of this webinar or sequence is now the same campaign, identical. It's the same campaign and pieces that handle the extending Infusionsoft webinars that I do, right? The difference is that when it posts for this course now, in here it says course. And if it's doing it for the webinars, it says webinar. And then I have an if statement that says, oh, if this is for the webinar, do this to it. If this is for the course, do this other thing. Send this email or send that email or whatever. So the fact that you can hard code the start of URLs in here. You can put forms in here. Like, let's just say, you knew that the beginning of something, I'm going to show you an example like this later on, was always this, and then later you're going to add a variable to it depending on what happened in your script, right? Whatever you want to put in here, you can. That's the point. So it's not just merge fields that have to go in these HTTP posts, at least from the snippet, from the post snippet. That's not true when you run it from like an action or an action set. All right, so this is how you do an HTTP snippet, and these are name value pairs, just like in a query. So let me just get Peter here for a second. So if someone filled out a survey from an Infusionsoft, we could then HTTP post this data out into an external database to create a report. Yes, exactly. You absolutely could. And vice versa. You could do you could use an HTTP post from, I use them all the time, from Gravity forms, and send information from a Gravity form to a script, which then writes it into Infusionsoft. So that's the opposite direction. But that's the idea. Each answer in a survey is going to be a value, and you're going to give it a name, and based on that name, you're going to be able to refer to it and work with it, which is what this says, right? In PHP, we can refer to the values in order to work with them using get and post. This syntax, this get, $_get, and $_post, right? These are called super variables. And this is the standard syntax, get or post, along with the value of the name we want. So this is what it looks like. So it's either get, open bracket, open quote, single quote, and then your name, your close quote, and close bracket, or you do the same thing for post. By the way, just a caveat, you guys, one of the things I've noticed is that copying and pasting out of these documents, as opposed to copying and pasting out of GitHub, is a little treacherous, because sometimes it changes these to like different kinds of quotes and things that are not actually friendly to the code, so anyway, just a kind of a caveat. But anyway, just so you know what so let's take one of these, right? Here's a name up here. I have a name, but this could be whatever we called it. So get fave sport would go in here, or here would be it's not in there, but get first name, if that's what we had. What else did we put in here? We had get company, right? So post company would go in here. Whatever you named it, and that's up to you what you named it. Whatever you named it is how you refer to it in these brackets. That's its name, just like Kim or Sue or Jerry or Bob. Okay, once you name it, that's how we refer to it. Does that make sense to everybody? Hopefully. And if it doesn't, let me know, and I'll try to clarify further. So this is how we refer to it, is either get, post, and name. Now, the interesting thing is, right, different forms or different actions in Infusionsoft and on the web, some use get and some use post. And the problem is sometimes you're not really certain which one it's using. Now, there are ways to look it up. But one of the things I discovered kind of late in the game is that I don't have to know whether it's get or post, because there's something that looks very similar, another super variable called request. And request does away with needing to know whether it's a get or a post, because request has get, post, and cookie, which we aren't using, but get and post in it. So if I do request, it's going to work regardless. Whether it's a get or a post, doesn't matter. I'm going to just always use request, and that will work. So that's like a little handy shortcut that I wish I had known a long time ago. But just learned that here fairly recently. So let me show you some examples and let's see how this all works. So I am going to pull up some code. These are the code. You guys, you shouldn't need that. You've got your handout yourself. Okay, so let's look at these code examples that I've given you. So the first one is get. So we have a get example. Now, so just so you know where we are, I wish I could make this text bigger, but I can't. So I have a website domain that I called api-demo.com, and I have a scripts folder like I told you guys to set up on your domains, where I put where the Infusionsoft SDK is. We're not working with that at all today. This is just straight PHP, but where we store all of our scripts. Just makes it easy because that way we're all working on from the same framework. Okay, and in there I have the scripts that I made for you today that we're going to use as examples, and this one is called get-example. Get-example. Very short. Okay. And you'll recall from Saturday that a PHP script always starts with this open PHP tag. It does not have to have a closing tag. That these are comments. Everything in gray is a comment. Now, what I would encourage you to do, I purposely did not do a lot of commenting here in the code about what is what. Number one, it's very short, but two, because when you download or copy these scripts out of the gist, then I want you to actually write these comments in your own words, if necessary, to be able to make notes for yourself so that when you go back and pull up these code snippets, that you've got little bits of information that make sense to you as opposed to what I thought made sense. Okay, I did give you some little, remember that this is a single line and this is a double multi-line comment so that you can do that. So here is our script. So the first one is hello world, echo hello world, which means this is going to load and print on the screen as soon as we load this page, getExample.php. Now, what comes next is our 3 get statements. Okay, so we've got contact ID. So this is remember from Saturday, this is a variable, a Tupperware that we use to assign things to so that we can work with it and carry it around and do things with. So we are assigning to the variable contact ID the value in get that has a name of ID. So when it goes to get this, okay, get it, and in this case it's going to get it from a query string, then this is the name. It's going to take the value and put it in contact ID. Same for name. It's going to find name, put that in there. It's going to take the value of favorite sport and put it in a variable called passion. And then what it does is echo, prints it out. So we've got contact ID. This is a string, okay? So it's going to print this. It's going to echo contact ID. This means concatenate. We're going to concatenate the value in our Tupperware called contact ID, concatenate that with a break, which is HTML for a line break, and then always end with a semicolon. We're going to do the same for name, and we're going to do the same for favorite sport. I hope I saved the, give me a second here, the query, I did, the query string. This is what I wanted, that I built for that. Okay, get. Okay, so this is on my server, sitting right here in the scripts folder. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here to my browser and I'm going to show this to you. So we're going to put this in here. Again, hard to see. Wait, let me do it this way. Oops, so that you can see it. Okay, this is my query string. Okay, except that I want get example, not post. There we go. All right, so here's my URL. Here's my ID. I'm just making this up. 1, 2, 3, 4. Name equals Kim. Fave sport equals polo with the ampersands in between. So when I take that and I put it here in the URL, oops, and I hit enter like that, you can see what happened. Let's put this up next to the script. Here's my script, and here's my results. Okay, did just what we expected it to do. It says, hello world, okay? Then it got from that query string the ID, the name and the favorite sport, and it echoed it back, contact ID, name, favorite sport, like that. You guys see that? Where do we pick up these examples? Ramona, in your handout, at the top of the hand, oh, sorry, let me show you. So hopefully you have the handout. Okay, if you don't have the handout, here is the URL right here to go get this handout. And down here are the examples that I'm working with right here. So this is the one that we're working with right now. This is this. Now, maybe actually what I should do is actually show you how to get these examples, because if you never, can be a little confusing if you've not worked with or seen like GitHub before. When you go to this, this is called GitHub. GitHub is a code repository, and when you go to the URL there, it's going to take you here, get example. And there's a couple ways for you to get this. One would be to just copy and paste. But the other one is this right here. See this button that says download this gist? A gist is just like a snippet. So you could just do it like this and then copy it into your own text editor. But the other way is to hit download gist like that. Okay, so all of my examples, if you go up here to gist, back to gist, you will see all of my different examples are up here so that you can see them and get them. Okay, so all the different code snippets are here. This is where I keep them. Okay, so, okay, Ashley, wrong screen. I'm not sure what that means. I would love to do a session, Ramona, on GitHub. GitHub is one of those things that, once I learned it, and because I have a lot of developers who work on our projects, not just me, and so the only way that we can do that is by using GitHub, and now it's like I don't know how I lived without it, but anyway, so I would be happy to. If anybody, like, if there's enough interest, I would love to do a GitHub. I'm no expert by any means, but like this, I know enough to tell you guys how to use it, but not like enough to. Oh, okay. Thank you. Sorry. Okay. Keep going. Kim, can you repeat what the dots are for before the variable names in the echo statement, please? Yes, Richard. Absolutely. So we haven't gotten to working with strings yet. That's going to be, I don't know, it's like the 4 or 5 sessions from now, working with strings. So I went over this like super quickly on Saturday. What this is this is how you concatenate strings, meaning you put, because the issue is that in PHP, we are able to and do mix and match HTML and PHP, right? So like you can see here, this is just a string. This is just, I'm just saying echo some text. This is I guess you'd call it PHP, but it's just text, right? Here's a string, print that out. Here's a variable, and it's got a value in it. So when you print that out, I want you to display the value in that variable. And here is some HTML. This is an HTML tag for a line break. So I'm actually mixing and matching 3 different things here. a string, a variable, and a line break, an HTML line break, all of which I want to print as a single continuous entity. And so the way I put these mix and match pieces together is by concatenating. And there's actually two different symbols for concatenating. This is the old way, I guess, which is the dot, but it's the way I learned, so it's still the way I do it. And I guess there's actually now two other ways to do it, which is a comma and some brackets. But anyway, I like the dot. It's clear to me because I use commas other places, like in arrays and stuff, and so I don't like to. There's no other place I'm going to put a dot. So to me, this is very clear what it is. It's about concatenating. It's about putting this together with these three things, so that when it prints, see, Richard, then you get this contact ID space concatenated with the value of contact ID 1, 2, 3, 4, and then a line break so that when this next one prints, it's on its own line. Hopefully that that answered your question. And again, I'm going to do a ton with strings and how to work with strings in that session. But for now, that's how we did that. Okay. Okay, a couple people saying they. Okay, so Troy says that I'd be very interested in how Gravity Forms works with this data. Do they have an open API? Actually, I'm going to show you, Troy. I have an example. They do have an API, actually, but you don't even need it for this. You just need to, I'll show you exactly how it works. I've got an example later on. And then if you still have questions, then ask me about it. Definitely no need for that. Yeah, no, don't worry about the API. You don't need that. Same year, could I do a session on Gravity Forms? Absolutely, I would love to do a session on Gravity Forms because I love Gravity Forms, and it just boy, it just opens up a lot of flexibility on your site when you can use them. So I would be happy to do that. Okay, I just have to figure out when and where, but we'll definitely do that. Okay, so another question. So I don't see how the get example is connecting with the IS database. That's because I haven't connected it to the IS database. What I have done here so far is I just hard coded a query string. So I'm going to do one with Post in a minute that does use the IS database. So because, by the way, Ramona, this is not about the API right now. We're going to do that separate because people wanted to just figure out the PHP first. If I start showing you how to write this into the Infusionsoft database, right, then now we're getting into a whole nother kettle of fish. And so this is just PHP, and then when we get this and everyone understands this, these are the things that we then use to write the little programs that do work with the API. So we're not doing any API in this 8-session course. That's coming next in the 4 hours to write your first API script. Okay, now what I am doing, no. Well, yeah, contact ID is it is contact ID is Infusionsoft because that's where we're going to use it, but it doesn't I'm just not doing any API calls. But I am going to show you how this is coming from Infusionsoft. So just bear with me, and I think I'm going to answer your question here in just a second. Now, so I've written some comments here to sort of pique your thoughts about where this gets applied. So the question is, what in Infusionsoft, to Ramona's point, this is a query string, get, okay? So what in Infusionsoft creates a query string? Well, I can tell you a couple things. One is when you check the box that says pass contact info to a thank you page, it is going to do that as a query string. So let me show you what I mean. Let's go over here and let's take a form. If I go back to the sequence, and just take a form. So here I have a form. So I'm going to show you how this works. And if I go to thank you page right here, okay, in fact, well, we'll just do this now to the point, right? So here I've got the same URL, okay, to my script, getExample.php, and I have clicked the checkboxes as past contacts info to the thank you page. Okay, so when I click this and I fill out this form, it is going to pass the exact URL that I just used, that I did manually, that one. Okay, that's exactly the exact same thing. If I put these values in there, that that Infusionsoft is going to pass. Okay, so that's one place that we're using get. We're using a query string, and so because now, what does that tell you? What's the use of that? How can you use the fact that a thank you page passes those values in a query string to a thank you page? Well, I mean, there's tons of things that I use this for all the time. So, for example, let's think, based on, I'm going to show you one where, based on the information in that query string, we send them to different thank you pages. Or for example, a thank you page there's also order forms, by the way, have thank you pages, right? And same thing there. Personalize it. Absolutely. You can, and I'm going to show you an example of that. You can personalize it. Say, hey, Kim, thanks for. Now, of course, if you want to use an Infusionsoft built-in thank you page, that's exactly what they're doing as well. It's exactly how it works. But same idea. So by having that information, I can construct multi-step forms. I can I can do a lot of things just by making the thank you page URL a script rather than a page, and then taking them to the page after I've done what I need to do. There's a lot of times I need to do things after someone has filled out a form, and that's how you do it. Okay. Okay. Christy, if you're using WordPress for your website and using them for a thank you page, how do you put a PHP script chunk on a WordPress page? Well, a couple things. You can put a PHP chunk. There are some plugins that you can use, like PHP Execute, that allow you to put PHP actually in the post content part of your page. If you know PHP, however, you can, if you want to, start to code that into the theme, into the backend, because WordPress is all written in and uses PHP. But if it's just a one-off in a post, you can do it that way. But a lot of times, you really don't need to do that, because well, sometimes you do. Anyway, you'll see that a lot of times I will do the processing, as the thank you, when I send the thank you page to the script, I do all the processing, and then I send them to the thank you page. And the thank you page is just a boring thank you page. So there's a script in between, right? So it goes like this. And I'm going to show you when you get to, this will make sense when we get to redirects, because that's exactly what we're going to do, right? We have form, and it sends you to a script, and then the script processes and then redirects you to an actual thank you page. Okay. And so, but you, the user, you never even realize you were sent to a script, because this happens instantaneously. You, the user, end up on a thank you page. Okay. Like that. But I'm going to show you how we do that, and how we get there when we get to redirects. That's what that's about. And also how you personalize it. But if you want to do it in, by the way, there's also loads of widgets in WordPress that will allow you to put PHP in there as well. Awesome, good. Okay, Ashley, are the query string value pairs case sensitive? And how would a date be represented in unscrambled? Yes, query string value pairs are case sensitive, and you can put a date in there. It's a string. It's going to, everything that you put in a query string is converted to a string. So once you get it back out, if you need to change it to a data type of date time, for example, you can do that using PHP date functions, which we're going to also go over, just like we have a whole session on date functions, just like we have one on strings, because dates are kind of tricky as well. So, but that's how you would do it. It gets passed as a date, and then, so the string would just look something like, date equals 2014-01-07. That's it, and whatever, and then the next one, and name equals blah blah blah, right? So when this passes, this comes through as a string, which you will then take and either use as a string or reformat as a date in your script if you need to. Okay. All right, so let's keep going. So this is get. All right, so this is our first simple example. Now let's move on from get to post, because this is one we're going to use a lot, just because of the emphasis on campaign builder. Campaign builder, other than thank you pages, doesn't send any query strings, it sends posts. Okay? Oh, wait, hang on. I didn't finish my list, by the way. Here, I got sidetracked. What else creates a query string? Product bundle links is another big one. This is like really, really, really key. Let me show you. Right? If I go to e-commerce setup and I go to product bundle links and I create a product bundle link, test product, add to bundle, quantity equals 2, awesome. And I grab this, copy, and put this where you can, oh heck, where you can see it. See that? So here's your URL, right, for the cart. And then what's being passed to the cart is a query string that says product ID equals 2 and product quantity equals 2. Now, why is that important? Well, because again, so just because this is what Infusionsoft wants to put here, number one, allows you to work with it if you want to intercept, or use this. Now you can actually add to the query string and so forth. So these query strings that are in product link bundles are another place we use those. And then right, which is kind of my point. There's lots of places where once you realize that something is a query string, you can actually start to write and force your own query strings in. So an example would be an email, or a script. So let's just say that you have on your website, here's a perfect example. Going back to this, let's just say that you have on your website a buy button. Okay, you're not using the Infusionsoft store. You've got a sales page on your website with a buy button, and now this is not necessarily that you're gonna do anything with this, but you're gonna send it to script. But and let's just say that you want to force this quantity. You want to if they are a customer, send them to one thing or one price or one product. Actually, a product is a good example because maybe they have different prices. And if not, then send to another page, right, that has the same product for a different price. I'm just making stuff up, but you get the idea, right? So by constructing the link, okay, you can then pass some information from your buy button to a script, which then constructs this and sends them to the right place in the cart, for example, right? So once you start to recognize that there are query strings, then suddenly you can start to construct your own. You can add stuff to this. It's not just looking for this, right? So just some examples. Anyway, emails are another place. Anytime you put a link in an email, if you go to templates or campaign builder emails, for example, and I am in my yeah, and you want to create a link. So in your link here, let's say for a web address, you put your script in here. So we'll do train and simple scripts dot something dot php. This is a script, and then customer equals yes, or whatever. Okay, so now again, this is a link to a script in your email with a query string behind it that your script can that can then read and do things with. Okay. Ashley, could I create a WordPress widget that would display a different phone number on the website depending on the AdWords ad link that was clicked to work with tracking numbers? Yes. Yes. You sure could. Exactly. Exactly. Because that's going to be a query string. And you could read that query string and work with that. Is there any info for learning how to construct get links? When you say get link, you mean Peter, a query string? Because you can just, yeah, sure. I mean, just are you talking about an Infusionsoft specific query string? Not so much. They talk about, it's often, oh, just a query string? Then just Google query string. But basically, this is it. I mean, this that I put in here is all there is to a query string. There is no more. It's a URL followed by a question mark, and then name value pairs that have an ampersand in between of them. And you can do that up until 2048 characters. And then on the backside, you just read it with a get. That's it. But if you Google query string or constructing a query string, you'll find millions and millions and millions of articles. Okay, but really that's all there is to it. It's really pretty simple. Okay, let me keep going. Oh, I've got a bunch more questions. Okay. So, and then also submit the keyword also from the URL onto a custom field when a form on that specific page. Ashley, I have not looked in detail at those URLs, but assuming that's in the URL, then yes, absolutely you can. You can put it in a custom field on a form and a hidden field on a form. If it's in the query string, PHP can get it and work with it. It's there for that purpose. Okay, sorry I missed it. How did you get to the action in the link options? I can only apply tags. Let me see. I think, Christy, that this is what you're talking about. So if I go here to link and I say web address, and then I just put, so here's where you'd click apply your tags and stuff. But all I'm doing is here is just, building a query string here, something dot php question mark, and then maybe I'm going to do contact ID equals, and I might, and by the way, right here, you guys, you can put a merge field in here, which I'm going to get wrong, so don't, but it would, it's like contact dot I think it's contact ID like this. Don't quote me on the exact. You'd have to look it up. But so CID equals contact. So like this. So it's going to actually. So when it sends, okay, this, and they click on it, it's going to send their contact ID to this script. Okay, by clicking on your link, and then the result of that, and the reason we use this is exactly what you just said, Christy, because I can only do a certain number of things here, right? But if I do this and I send them to my own script, I can do as many things as the API will allow me to do. So I can start and stop sequences. I can add stuff to their record. I can send them emails. I can, I mean, like literally at this point, by sending them to this script and reading their CID because their contact ID, because I sent it with it, now I can do absolutely anything to that record. And what they're going to see though is a thank you page or whatever page I want them to see, because that's where I'm going to redirect them to when they get to this script. I haven't gotten to redirects yet, but I promise I'm getting there. Okay, so hopefully that answered your question. I don't know anything about eye tracker, Ashley. So that one, you're kind of beyond me on that one. Not sure about that one. Okay, sweet, got it, excellent. Yeah, I don't get the number 2, actions if link is clicked line. This line right here. Actions if, oh, do you get it now? Really bizarre. Okay. All right. So we'll leave that. Okay. Oh, you know what, Christy? Sorry. Probably because you're in Campaign Builder and I'm in Templates. I'm guessing, but it's going to be similar. All right, let me keep going. If I cause a query string to be created in a URL that I then submit, can you hash it and then unhash it in the receiving script to secure its content in the clear and hide values from history? Or is this the scenario to use post? That's a scenario to use post, and kind of way beyond this kind of 80-20 programming. Yeah, you sure could. Be a lot easier if you could just use post, though. Then you wouldn't have to mess with that. Can you start a campaign? Yes, you can. You sure can. Start a campaign using the API. You can send emails. You can do almost anything once you get that CID out there to work with it. Okay, which we will work with when we get to the API stuff. All right, so let me move on now. All right, so let's go to post. So that's get. Now let's do post. So for post, it's almost the same. Okay, it's going to look almost the same. Here's post. So if you want to follow along, you can, let's put this on your server, because we are going to, am I going to do a post from here? Yeah, I think I am. Okay, yeah, we'll do this from the campaign. So this is identical. The only thing that's changed here is instead of get here, it says post. Okay, and that's because instead of a query string coming from like a thank you page URL or whatever, we are actually going to send this from Campaign Builder. So let's do that. Let's just show you how this works. So this is my script, and same thing, right? It's going to print the same thing, but let's just do it so you can see how this works. So here I have, oh, I did not want to, sorry, I did not want to close that. Come back. I need you. There we go. Okay, let's go back to our campaign. Let's find this form. No, sorry, not this form. HTTP snippet. This is what I want right here. Change this back to Polo. Okay, I'm gonna get rid of this. I'm gonna get rid of this. Okay, so let's match this up. Let's make sure that this is all still matches our script. So our script is looking for ID, name, and fave sport in the post variable, which is what we have here. And our script lives at API/demo.com, and the script name is post example.php. So we're going to send a post to this script with these name value pairs in it. To do that, I've got to turn that to ready. I've got to go back here. I've got to make that ready. I've got to give it a goal, which is what? Demo. Okay. So, and what's this going to do here? Oh, you know what? This is not going to show you anything because it's coming. How am I going to echo that? Let me do it this way. You see the problem. The problem I've got here is this echoes something, but we actually here aren't. When I send an HTTP post snippet, I can't see the echo, right? Because all it does is it just sends something to the script. That's all it does. So the only way I would be able to know that something happened here is if I wrote it into the Infusionsoft record, or I redirected to another page, which I'm going to do in a second. So I'm going to show you a different way to do this, okay? And I'm going to do the snippet when I get to redirects. So let me just show you. So what Infusionsoft creates a post? Well, one is this post snippet in the campaign builder, and it only sends the name value pair that you specify, those three. But here's the other one. Action sets have an HTTP post option as well, right? Now, I want to show you a couple things. So I kind of got sidetracked here. Let's just do this, and then I'm going to come back and run this for you because I want you guys to see this. So I want to show you that if I had this so that I could run this post for you. If I run this post right here, I'm going to run this in contacts like this. If I go to contact Joe Salesperson, yeah, a log file would work too, Ashley. It would. This is another place I can run an HTTP post. But in this case, if I say apply an action, and I say add a new action, and I say send an HTTP post, and I send it here. Oops. I don't want that. I want this. Post example. Oh, .php. All right. So I'm going to send a script here, and I just say save. What you're going to see is when I apply this action to Joe Salesperson. Uh-oh, host parameter is null. What? Oh, heck. Go back. Go back. Hang on. Do it again. Apply an action. I don't want to confuse you guys, and I kind of got off a little track. I had like kind of a little straight line I was going down. This should be API demo script, which doesn't have HTTP. That's why. All right, there we go. Post example .php. Okay, save, apply. Okay, see, so you can kind of see it's kind of ugly, but here the result, at least it does show you. It does do a printout. Oh, although no, because there's no form. All right, sorry, you guys. That was a bust because that's not going to show you what I wanted to show you. I'm going to just wait. I'm just going to wait until I'm getting ahead of myself, so I'm going to wait till I get the redirect, and you can just do all this together. So I'm gonna hang on, just gonna hang on to that. Okay. So this is post, but here's here's where I was actually trying to get to, which is this, which is that really you won't use either get or post. Okay, that's really kind of the point. You're going to use this instead, which is request. Whether it's get or post, you're going to use this. Okay, and the reason is because request has both get and post in it. Okay, so let me just show you something as why this is important. If I used this post right here, let me just show you. So this post script, see where it says post? If I posted to this with a query string, it's not going to read that because it's like, wait, I don't understand what you mean. You said post and there's no post, right? Same with this. If I do this with a post and this says get, it's going to error. You're going to get an error. It's going to say, I don't understand. There's nothing. But if I use request, because request contains both get and post, okay, then you get the same effect. Doesn't matter how it's being sent. Either way, right, it's going to send information and read it into this name value pair. Okay, so how would we use this? Well, I've already said, what creates, different things. So we've talked about, we can use it to pre-populate forms on a field. We can use it for custom thank you pages, which I'm about to show you. We can use the contact ID and the API to update the contact record, etc. Okay, so by passing this information to our script, as I already said, we can do whatever we want with it. Okay. Now I'm going to come back to URL encode, even though it really has to do with query strings, because at the risk, I don't want to confuse you guys, and I feel like I have, so I want to get this to where it all comes together in your heads quickly. So I'm going to go straight to redirect so that I can show you the whole thing, okay, from beginning to end. This script here, okay, I'm going to do it two ways. I will do it as from a form in Infusionsoft, okay, and I can also do it as a query string, just so that you can see. So what we've got here is, I'm going to do it three ways actually. Okay, so this script, redirect, okay, has the same things. It has contact ID, name, and passion. Only this time, because I'm going to pass it from the an action set, I'm using their names rather than mine. Okay, so let me show you how this works. So first way I'm going to pass this. Oh, so let's talk about redirect. Okay, so redirect, before I show you this, redirect is this. A redirect does just what it uses, something called header. Okay, header, just like this. And it puts it in this form, header, and then a string which says location, colon, space, and a URL. And when it hits this header, it is going to literally put this as if they had put this in their address bar and hit enter. It's going to redirect them to this page. And if you chose to, you could include a query string as well in that header. You can put any kind of URL that you could put in your address bar, you can put in header. Okay? So what this allows us to do when we combine this with post or get, which means request, is this allows us to, like I said, send information from a form, from an action set, from a URL, from an order form, whatever, as either a post or a get, have the script grab it, do something with it, and then redirect them where we want them to go. So in this case, I don't have a lot of processing here. It's just really simple. I'm going to grab it and I'm going to redirect. That's all I'm going to do. And what I'm going to do here, I'm using an if statement. And I'm saying, if when I grab this, their passion is polo, I'm going to send them to one page. And if it's not polo, else, I'm going to send them to a different page. Okay? If this, then this, else, do this. Okay? This is the right one. Right here. All right. Go here. Put that in. Go to the form. Fill it out. Kim. Email. And favorite sport polo. Hit submit. Cannot modify header. Line 19. Why? Oh. Why? Oh, so this is important. Watch. Cannot modify header information. Headers are already sent. Anytime you get that, you know that you made the cardinal mistake, which I put right in your handout, right here, which is that the only caveat is header must come before any output or it won't work, like what just happened there. So what we have to do to make, so these echoes, these are output, right? So we got to get rid of these like this and like this and try again. Okay, that's why that didn't work. That's what, whenever you see that didn't header already sent, that's what that means. Go back, try again. Oh, I could have just resubmitted. I just hit refresh, but I didn't. Okay, POLO, go. Submit. What? On line 20? What do you mean? Scripts polo page. Why are you saying that? Oh, shit. Sorry. Ooh, I didn't say that. Sorry, you guys. I didn't say that. Try again. Refresh. There. Oh, ha. That only took forever. But look, okay. So what it did is it sent us to polopage.php. Okay? Okay. So now, and it did that because when it read from the post, passion equals polo, it said if passion equals polo, send it here. Okay, which now let's go a step farther. Now, if I had, by the way, said passion was something else, of course, like Kim, and then email, and then favorite sport equals football, and we said submit, then it sends me to the page called normal page, and it says, doesn't everybody play polo? Now, let's take this one step further, two steps further, now that we got that working. So this is a redirect. And you can kind of now get the idea of where we're going to use that, right? Oh, I wanted to do this from a snippet too, but anyway, I better just stick with what's working for the moment. Okay, so because I've taken way too much time now. So this is a redirect, and you can use this for all kinds of things, like, you know, custom thank you pages, for example, or even custom, you know, custom scripts, all kinds of things like that. Now let's go one step further on our redirect. Okay, redirect here. I wanted to show you guys encode, and this is really important when it comes to query strings and when you're the one constructing the query string. Okay, I did it up here, and this is your encode. So basically, the thing about encode is that a URL, including the query string, can only have ASCII characters in it. But our data almost always has non-ASCII characters. Anytime that we put something that has like an @ sign or spaces in it, those are non-ASCII characters, and those can't go into a URL. So when we're making URLs, we need to use URL encode with the string in here to make it URL friendly. So what I want to do now to put all this together, now that we got it working, is I want to add a query string to the end of this called name. Name equals, okay, because I want to pass the name. But now, and what I'm going to put in name is this right here, right? This value. But what I want to do is I want to put in here URL encode, open paren, and then inside that, I want to put the name variable. Oh, no, I don't. Hang on. I'm missing something. This has to be concatenated. So this goes to your question, Richard. So watch, because this is where we're mixing and matching again. Okay? So what I have to do is I have to concatenate that. And I don't need that anymore. So this is going to read like this, name equals, then it stops, and then it concatenates the URL encoded version of name. Now, as long as my name is just Kim, it really doesn't matter. But if this had been an email address, or when I submit this form, I'm going to put a space in there so that you can see what it looks like, this is going to take care of that for me. Okay? So now we're going to pass this variable called, or this key pair called name, so that my Polo page over here can say name equals, it's going to pick the request up out of the URL for name, and it's going to echo this time, hi Kim, or hi whoever, this is your Polo specific thank you page. Okay, so what I'm trying to show you now is, so not only are we redirecting after we've gone through our script, okay, but we are also continuing to pass the information along from page to page to page as we go along. Okay, so this is expecting name, and we're going to give it to it like that. So I'm going to say save. Hopefully I'm not going to get another error there. Okay, so let's go all the way back to our form. Not that one. This one. All the way back to our form. And try again. So this time, instead of Kim, I'm going to put a full name. I'm going to put my dog, Drita Dog, and I'm going to put Drita at kimsnyder.com. And, oh, well, doesn't matter that I misspelled that. And I'm going to put Polo for Drita because she's a Polo dog. And I'm going to hit submit. And it says, hi, Drita Dog. Okay, now look at this. So here's our new query string. Okay, which you can see I had a space in there. But what URL encode did is URL encode puts a plus in there for that space. So it creates a friendly that it can read. Now let's just do another one real quick. Okay. I'm going to pass and include email address now. So this is Polo page, and not only do I want to do this one, but I also want to do email like this, and say, because I want you to see that one too. So if I say email equals request, and then I do email, and I URL encode that one as well, and I say, what did I do there? And I say Your email is oh, that's why. Your email is email. All right, let's try that. Your email is. All right, so you guys see what I've done here? So let me just go through it. So we're saying echo, something's wrong. This is, by the way, one of the values of using a code editor. Oh, see, I looked at this immediately instead of using a text editor. I looked at this immediately and said, something's wrong. And the reason I knew something was wrong is because my variables are red and this is not. The strings are supposed to be red. So instantly that tells me something is wrong. And when I look up here, it's because I'm missing that closing open quote. So now everything turns the right color again. This is, my strings are red, my variables are purple. This is what it's supposed to look like. And my concatenates are blue, which it wasn't just a second ago, right? So that's one of the benefits of having a, oh, and by the way, I'm missing a semicolon. Okay, so this whole statement says echo, start a string, hi, space, concatenate with that name, concatenate, line break, that's still part of a string. That's why it's opened here. This is your Polo specific thank you page. That's not right. Then we'll put a break here. Break. Your email is close quote. So this is the first place where we close this whole long big string in red. Concatenate with email and then close the line. This is actually a single line of PHP right here. Okay? So we are looking for email that we're going to pass in the post called redirect. Let's make sure that we do actually pass it. So I'm also going to add another pair here that's going to say email equals, and I'm going to URL encode that as well. So let's do it like this. Okay, and make this, I am not even collecting this, am I? Huh. Let's get this like this. Email. Get the request, which we were smart enough finally to store like that. Grab it. By the way, that's a cool trick that I don't know if you guys noticed what I'm doing. I posted it. This is actually a tab in your browser that you can write as a notepad. I do this constantly. I'm always like doing just this when I'm writing scripts, and this is just so much easier than having like a notepad thing up. So there's my email. So now I'm grabbing it, I'm passing it to here to email, and it's URL encoded because it has an @ sign in it. So now this should all work. I save it. Okay, good, saved. Now let's go try it. So let's go back one more time to our form. And let's say Dritta dog, whose email is dritta@kimsnyder.com, and her favorite sport is polo, and we submit, and let's see what we get. An error. 21, line 21. What did I mess up? Oops. Okay. Anyone know what oh, some of you already have it. Email equals, okay. Not dash. Yeah, I think I got all those straightened out. But what's wrong with this? Anyone want to take a guess at what's wrong with this one? And then I'm going to answer your questions. Why is there an error at line 21? I should have noticed because the colors are wrong. Can you guys see that these colors are wrong? Right in here, which tells me it's somewhere in here. So what should I have done here? Ramona, nope, not quite, close, not missing a $sign. What I'm actually, I'm wrong. What I'm missing actually is a concatenate. because this, right, is the end of that, and then this becomes a string all the way to here, and then we concatenate it again. So this is a string. Anytime you have a string, it's got to be inside quotes, and then anytime you're not in a string, you got to concatenate it and go outside the quotes. So now that should work. Okay, so let's just should be able to just resubmit. Hi, Dreaded Dog. This is your Polo specific thank you page. Awesome. Now when we grab this query string, we put it over here where we can look at it. Okay, see that? Again, so this is the URL encode for the @ sign. So we've created, right? We've created the query string within the redirect so that when we got to that page, we could customize it. Now again, this is like really, basic to show the functionality, but we can do all kinds of things with it once we have it. I was just trying to get it, so that you guys could see it move from point A, which is the form, to point B, which is this script, then to point C, which is this page. So Dritta Dog went from form to end the email, form to script to page. By the way, did it print the yeah, it didn't print the email address, did it? It didn't. Why did it? Oh, because I don't have that on the page. I don't have that on the page. Yeah, I do. Your email is email. Oh, that's what you guys were saying. Thank you. Yep. Dash instead of thank you. Very good. Good catch. Redo it. Resubmit. There we go. Your email is dritta@kimsnyder.com. Good catch, you guys. So you did learn something from that. So that was good. All right. So now with all of that, I'm going to go back through these questions and all of your comments, most of which were about my screw-ups. Okay, let's see. No worries. Ashley, it's interesting because I can tell that security is a big issue for you. I don't know if that's, just because of like a client or just that's just an issue, or a text log file. You'd like to know how. I actually did the text log file last week. When you if I have time, we've got a few minutes. Let me just run through these questions, and then, but it's in the webinar from Saturday. If not, if I have time, I'll go back and I will show it to you. You're using the request example. Thank you. Okay, that's all right. Yes. Did I publish? Okay. Yes. You've left out the script. Okay. See? Oops. This is real. Okay. Okay. That's the way, that is the thank you page. Where is the if statement? Is it in a gist? It is in a gist, and the gist, Ashley, is here. If you go to, I believe it is. I believe I put up the redirect. Did I not? I might not have. It is not. Let me put that up. I will put that up in 2 seconds. Here, let me do it right now, because otherwise you won't have the... No, I will. You'll have it. I will put it up when we get done, and I will put it in the handout so that you will have it. Okay? So hopefully don't let me forget. Can these techniques be used with pearls? And can you pull the Kim bit out and say, yes, that's a totally different animal, though, Alistair. What you're doing there is actually So he's talking about, so kim.trainandsimple.com, like a subdomain, and can you pull the kim bit out and say something? That is a totally different, it's not request, it's actually, there's another super variable if you want to look it up on your own and play with it, called server. Called server. And with server, all the different components of server, you can actually explode that and parse it. So you can parse pieces of the URL and do things with it. It's not in request, it's in server that would work with that. Learn loads, good. I'm glad, because that was kind of a pain. All right, so any other questions that you guys have after we struggled through all that? I'm surprised at how many people are still here. Yes, let's see. Any other besides? Otherwise I'm gonna show Ashley the how to spit something out to a log file. Okay. All right. So real quick, and we'll actually do that from a post, because I haven't really done a post snippet. So that'll be a good way to do one from a post snippet. Okay, so let's do this. Let's make a different example here. Let's copy and paste this, and let's do I'm going to go here and I'm going to make a new file, and I'm going to call it write log.php. Okay, and I'm going to put in here this, and I'm going to take this out, and I actually believe I have the text that I used from the other day, so I'm going to cheat because it'll be faster and just go grab that. So bear with me. It's here in scripts. Oh, I say that I do. Might be easier to okay, I'm gonna get, oh, is it here? No. Nope. Let me just go grab that. Hang on. It's fwrite, fopen, then fwrite, and then fclose. So let me see if I can just do it without copy and paste. Where to go? Here's my write log. So what we're going to do is we're going to say, we're going to make this requests, okay? Because those shouldn't be gets. We're going to say request ID, request name. That's probably good enough. Okay? And then get rid of that. Okay, because we're going to do this from a post, and then we're going to do fwrite, and then what we do here is we say the name of the file, I believe, goes in. We're going to say show log.txt, and then what else goes in here? There's something else that goes right in there. I think it's like open or something. So that's why I may have to go get, I may have to go copy it, or I can just get it off the internet. All right, so we're going to go with that for a second. It's going to be, oh, I know what it is. No, I know what it is. It's it's fopen, then that's fopen. It's this, fopen, and then, okay, pound file equals. By the way, one of the things I always tell people is that, see, you don't actually have to know all these things. You just have to know what they are. And then you go look them up, because there's really no point in remembering all this syntax, at least to me, because, you know, I don't do this for a living. But so we're going to write, so what we're doing is we're saying fopen, this is the name of the file, and I'll just double check the syntax before we send it to make sure I got this right. So we're going to, this is the name of the file that we're going to open, fopen. We're going to assign that file to this variable file. Then we're going to say write in file, we want to write we'll just say contact ID. And in fact, we might even say something like contact, fix that in a second, ID is space, something like that, and then concatenate. So something like that. And then write that to the file. And then we have to do a fclose and file. Like that and like that. So we can live dangerously and try this just without. So here's how I test these things, by the way. Gotta go. All right. Bye. Rather than doing a post right away, because that's going to take a long time, I'm going to do it. But first, I want to make sure it works. So what I do generally is I just comment those out, and I hard code these first like this. So I'll say contact ID equals 1234, and then I'll say name equals Kim, like this, and I'll post it first, like just as to the like this. So, and then see if it works. So what we'll do is we'll say scripts write log.php. I would actually look it up and see if I'm going to get an error. Yep, I thought I would. fopen expects 2 parameters. I knew there was something else that goes there. So hang on one second. And we'll just, oh, I don't want to do that one. Let's go get this one. fopen. So the way you look these up, you guys, is when you just say PHP, oh, get the command right, Kim. When you say PHP and then what you want, even what you want to do, almost always the top one on the list is going to be php.net. This is the manual for PHP, and I spend all kinds of time here. This is why I say it's really kind of cut and paste, because right down here, oh yeah, that's right. What they have is they always have examples and they explain it, right? And what I forgot is the parameter that goes here. So I'm gonna use a plus, which is append, but R is the so it lists them all here. R would just be it opens a new file and replaces what was there previously, but I'm going to do append, which is an A, so that's what was missing there. And now try save. I said living dangerously because I thought it would be kind of line 18. fwrite expects another parameter, really? Expects parameter 1 to be a resource. It is. All right, well, let's see if this works now. It did. Okay, so this one is blank. This page is blank because I didn't echo anything. Okay, but what you're going to see now, what you should see now, is if I go here in the same directory where that script just ran, which is not this one, but rather this one, API demo scripts. It should be there, but it's not. Hang on. What did I call it? I called it showlog.txt, right? fopen showlog.txt. Should have been there. And it's not. Oh yeah, it is. I just had to refresh. Yay! So now if I open showlog.txt, it says contact ID is 1234. Yeah, I got one right. Okay, so that's how that works. But that's why the page was blank, because we didn't echo anything. Did that? Hopefully that answered your question. So, all right. So I've showed you how to do that. Cool. Good. Gotta go. Tanya. Awesome. Peter. Okay. Oh, Peter? What's my shortcut for quick publishing in Coda? I'm not exactly sure what you mean. Like, you mean something that I've been doing that you saw that you're asking about, or just kind of a oh yeah, command S? What? When I publish a page? Yeah, exactly. It's just command S. That's all or yeah, Apple S, command S. And then because I'm opening it on the server and then hitting command S, it's saving it right back to the server. Okay, good, good. Just getting rid of those. That's a good way to troubleshoot posts, I guess. Yes, Ashley, absolutely. So the last thing, we got 2 minutes, so let me just show you this way. Let me just show you one more thing, because this is the thing we never did. We never did the post snippet. So if I take this write log, I'm going to just add one more thing to this, which is I'm going to concatenate a break like this, okay, and do it like this. So I just save that. Now let's do this from a post, because that is a good way to troubleshoot. So we're just an example of dumping. So name and ID is all we've got here. And so if we go to, we're going to have to probably log back into this sucker, but that's okay. So here, if I go to post and I change this to write log.php, okay, scripts is what I'm missing, aren't I? Okay, like that. And then I change this to ID because that's what it wants. And I change this to name because that's what I said I was going to call it. Type and talk Kim. And then I put this. So this is contact ID, and I can just get rid of that because we're not going to use that for this. So I got request ID, request name. That's going to be contact ID and first name. And I'm going to go back to go back here, and I'm going to go back here, and I'm going to publish that, and I'm going to apply it by this tag, right? And then it's going to append, as you'll see. So find a contact. I am going to find a different contact. Contacts, view contacts. Pick one, Pete Partner. So Pete Partner is 102. We're going to apply a tag called demo to kick off that snippet, that HTTP snippet. Apply, which should have, if we look at, it's going to take a second, if we look at, that's about to execute. So I just went to campaigns here in the drop down, right? So we applied the tag. Any second now, it's going to send the HTTP post, which it probably has done by now, to write log. I'm just refreshing this to see that it sent the post. Where's Pete? Pete Partner, right here. Yep, so the post has been sent, which means that Pete's ID 102. So now if we go to our log, our write log, don't say that, go to write log. So hopefully I didn't write over the top of it. Oh, I've already got it open. No, I don't. Come on. I thought I put a break in there, but I missed it. Anyway, nope. Did I still have something hard-coded? Heck. Write log, write log, write log. Where are you? I need to close some things. I can't find anything. That's fine. Get rid of these. Yeah, you can save. Where is my write log file? Quick. Write log. You guys, did I not? I swear I thought I fixed this. I must not have seen. Alright, try it again. I swear I did that. This must not have saved. Alright, try again. Save. Name and ID. Alright, do it again. So we'll do someone besides Pete. We'll do Lely lead. Apply tag. Demo. Alright, try it again. There's my break. I know I did that. Alright. That should be enough time. Come All right, let's go look at Lely lead is 104. So now let's look at our write log. This is our show log. Close that, open it. 104. There she is. Okay, so that was her going, us applying a tag in that case in the campaign builder to that, which ran a snippet, which then in turn posted to this log file. Contact ID is 104, which is her. Whew. Okay, that was pretty convoluted. Good, I'm glad. Really convoluted, but you know, I agree with you guys, even though I get really self-conscious that and flustered when I can't make it work right away, because this is what you do in real life. Hopefully in real life you don't get as flustered as I just did as often, but that is how you solve it right there, you know, is just that's it. That's what you do. So that was get and post and URL encode and redirect. And what I owe you guys is the if statement on redirect. I guess I did not put that up. So I will do that now. I don't even want to post this video for everybody to see, but I will. You guys are sweet. Anyway, any other questions before we go? We're over by 4 minutes. Questions? Nope. Okay, we're gonna drop off. The next one is on Thursday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern time. We will start on time, and hopefully I will have that one a bit better, a bit better organized. You know, you guys are so funny. Thanks. And yeah, I will post the video. All right. You guys are awesome. Talk to you later. Bye.